Hi, I'm Charles. Welcome to my program. My program was designed to find out how to get rid of inflammation from the body. Okay? It all starts with some type of inflammation, and by the time someone comes to me, they've tried different things, and now we have to find out what is it that we're trying to remove. Okay? And the first thing we have to do, just because when you remove inflammation, you're removing inflammation out through the lymphatic system. Okay? This is remove. Okay? And the lymph system works as a network of pipes. Okay? And when you have things that you don't want, your immune system, the white blood cells, they are now escorting this type of inflammation in. To your lymphatic system. And this lymph system now will flow it out. Okay? So the first thing we have to do, number one, is make sure it's moving. Okay? So we check that. Okay? Is there enough? Is the lymph system stuck? If it's not stuck, then it's now we can move it. Okay? So if it needs to be moved, we get it to start moving, and once it starts moving, we make sure that all the particles that might be stuck to the edge, okay, to the edge of the walls, now are moved. So we call it the way they're stuck. Okay, they're stuck, okay. And they're stuck by static electricity, the same static that keeps clothes together after drying them in a dryer is what keeps these particles stuck to the lymph system. So they need to be unstuck. Okay. The third thing we do, okay, we actually support the motion, and we support the motion by actually just moving, keeping things moving. Okay. The lymph system works by an idea of vacuum. Okay. For instance, this is now full. Now, each one of these now are going to leave the lymph system. Okay, that opens up the space in the lymph system, and that will allow more of these guys to come in. Okay. You ever gone to these airports where you can't get on the airplane until the people in the airplane now have gotten off and taken all their luggage out? Okay? And that's how it works here, is you can't get things into the lymph system until these guys are moving. Okay? So we're going to say continue moving. Okay? The last thing we do is we make sure that everything can be moved, and I like to call it just polishing. Okay? And this polishing step just makes sure that the lymph system can accept and things won't get stuck to the sides. Okay? And that's actually a good thing. Okay? So for the lymphatic system, you can start to see that you need to make sure it's moving. Make sure that anything that's stuck to the sides are now unstuck. You have to make sure it's continually able to move so new things can come in. And now you want to also make sure that the sides of the lymph system prevents things from being stuck. Okay? Once you have this in place, you can actually now have something in the lymph system just moving. Okay? And in many cases, the lymph system, unfortunately, because of the types of toxins we are now in, our world is, we have something in our air, something in our water, something in our food. We don't have access to a very high nutritious types of foods anymore. We're going to have to maintain our lymph system. Okay? And that's the best way to keep ourselves healthy, is something needs to be added to our bodies to keep it moving. Okay? The second thing we look at is once the lymph system is moving, we just want to make sure that all the inflammation now is moving through here. Okay? And we do that by, after moving all 4 steps, making sure all 4 steps are in place. Now we start looking at inflammation now. Okay. Now are we able to remove, are we able to move this into the lymph system? Okay. And that's something we have to check nutritionally. Do you have enough energy? Okay. Okay. Do you have enough energy? Okay. This is very important because what you're looking at is somebody who's in the nutritional area. Do they even have enough of what it takes to remove inflammation? Okay. We cleared out the lymph system. Now we have to say, well, now we're going to start removing it. Do you have enough energy? Okay. Well, the first thing we look at is oils. Okay. These are the types of things that we look at is what's in our food. The kinds of foods that are good for us, unfortunately, also need to be fresh because these oils become rancid very quickly. Okay, we're talking about flaxseed, wheat germ. Okay, those are all very good things. We just need access to very fresh ones. Okay, is there too much? Has it been in oxygen so long that the oxygen now combined to the oils and turn it rancid? Okay, and it's equivalent to metal in air to create rust. Okay. And this is the equivalent to rust. Okay. Once we get this in place, now we start looking at proteins. Okay. Okay. In the proteins, there's 2 types of proteins used for detox. Okay. We'll call it proteins for detox. Okay. And there's 2 of them. There's 2 different formulas I had to create to actually help us with the detox process. Okay? Then what we do is now we have to support the healing. Okay? For cell communication. Proteins for cell communication is very important because what we're looking at is these 2 neighboring cells. They're not used to working with each other again because there's so much inflammation, they stop working. They stop communicating. Now what we want them to do is start talking to each other. Does this cell and this cell, can they coordinate their activities? Okay, that's very important. Because you have one cell that might be operating at 40% capacity, and the other one might be at 75%. Okay. And his neighbor might be at 50%. Okay. And his neighbor might be at 60%. Okay. And they have to start pulling their resources together to help each other out. Okay? And this is how cells actually work. Okay? It's the coordination of maybe this guy here has some protein that this guy needs. this guy has vitamin C, this guy has minerals, and they all need to now start making sure, pooling their resources together for the common goal. Okay. The last ones is proteins for hormones. Okay. One of the reasons why you might not be able to make enough hormones to sleep, or to control your thyroid, or to control any other process, is because you don't have enough of the working material to make the hormones with. There's other reasons why you can't make hormones, but this might be one of the reasons, and we have to make sure that's in place. And so you can see from a nutritional viewpoint, these are all the possible things that can go wrong. Okay. The reason why I'm saying this is because this is what your body needs to remove inflammation. Okay. But the body also uses the oils, the proteins, the other proteins, and these proteins. Okay? They use it to maintain normal function. Okay? So when we're looking at maintenance, does your body have enough of these to maintain normal function? And does it have enough to remove inflammation? Okay. And that's the problem with the current system, is we need to have a way of restoring the ability of removing inflammation by putting in the same things that your body needs to maintain it with. Okay. Your body uses the same nutrition to detoxify, to power white blood cells, to give the pancreas what it needs to make insulin, to give the heart the energy to beat, to give the lungs the energy to absorb oxygen and release carbon dioxide, to give the kidneys to make urine and eliminate. These are all the same things that come out of our foods, but now our foods don't have enough of it, so you cannot do two functions. You can't do the maintenance, and you cannot do the inflammation at the same time. And that's how we end up being stuck. Okay? And that's why it's important to put in nutritious foods and not worry about taking foods out. Don't worry about taking coffee out. Don't worry about not eating meat. Make sure you put in the vegetables. Make sure you put in the fruits, because that's what's going to give you enough to maintain the body. And then if your body needs more, if for specific reasons, we're going to have to go through this whole process during the healing process. Okay? And that will restore the ability to remove inflammation.